Just as a disclaimer, we want you to know that some of the movies that we will be reviewing were shot in a different time and era where people of race and sex were not treated equally. We understand this and hope you do too. The movies or anything that happened on the sets are not the views of this podcast or what this show is intended to be all about.
Exactly. And we want to give due diligence in presenting the movie and not the views of the cast or directors or anyone involved. But we also feel it's necessary to let the audience know some of the background information to get a feel for what was happening at the time of shooting the film. Again, we hope you understand that we do not agree with everything that went on, and we just want to give out the information. And with that being said, hope you enjoy the show.
In entertainment in one superb show. Here is matchless story, suspenseful, terrifying, never so thrillingly presented. Here in breathtaking Technicolor is superb spectacle and splendor and romance. Here is a chorus of 100 voices, a ballet of 100 dancers, a cast of 1,000, starring Nelson Eddy in his most vigorous performance, lovely Susanna Foster, and Claude Rains in the most coveted role of the year as the Phantom of the Opera.
My music! You've stolen it! You've stolen my music!
Hey guys, welcome back to the Universal Monsters series, The Tragedy of Cinema. I'm your host Jimbo, and my co-host as usual is...
The ever so tired Terrence.
Ever tired Terrence, not ever so tired. So today we are continuing our Universal Monsters series with, this is the 9th film. We will be talking about The Phantom of the Opera from, I believe, 1943?
Yes, 1943.
So Terrence, let's just go ahead and jump right in and take it away.
All right, release date... August 27th, 1943. Budget was $1.5 million. Yeah, 1.5
That was the same budget
million.
that the Hunchback had from the episode before.
And to account for inflation in today's money, that's $22 million. This was directed by Arthur Lubin. Writing credits goes to Eric Taylor, screenplay, and Samuel Hoffenstein, screenplay. Hans Jacobi, adaptation as John Jacobi. Gaston Leroux, novel.
No one shoots like Gaston.
I know, when I was reading the names, that's exactly what popped in my head. And then once again, Hans Jacobi, uncredited. Technical specs, runtime, 1 hour and 32 minutes. So average movie length, not short like some of the previous ones that we've gone over, which usually run about an hour,
right.
Hour 10. This one's a full hour 30. Sound mix is mono Western Electric recording. This one is the only movie in the Universal Monster series that we've covered, of course, that is in color.
Right, but the other ones have been released in color, I do believe.
Really?
I think so. I think I posted a couple on the Facebook group. I'll have to go back and double check. But I think I've seen The Mummy for sure.
Huh. I wonder how it looked. Because I know some movies you're like, it's probably better in black and white. Yeah.
Well, I think they all are better in black and white, especially for...
Because, they apply
monsters.
heavy makeup to make distinguishing things on purpose. Aspect ratio, 1.37 by 1. Laboratory, we're looking at Technicolor. Film length, 2,536 meters. Negative format, 35 millimeter. Cinematographic process, spherical and printed film format, 35 millimeter. Now, the awards. U.S. Academy Awards, 1944. Winner, Oscar. Best cinematography, as called by Jimbo in our own little award segment.
When we do our little wrap-up show, you'll hear that I said this would be the one. In terms of, I hadn't seen it yet, so... But now that you've watched it, would you agree?
Oh, yeah,
it's beautifully... The colors and everything just all flow together and just shot really well.
It was a very well done movie. And then so we're looking at the cinematographers, which is Hal Moore and W. Howard Greene. Best art direction.
So they won again.
They did, yes. So they have 2 wins. The other one is best art direction, interior decoration, color. Alexander Goldzin, John B. Goodman, Russell A. Guzman, and Ira Webb.
See, that it's very exciting because usually when we've done all these monster movies, it's usually just the DVD box collection, which I'm sure you're getting ready to start naming some of them. So, it's pretty cool to see that they finally got some awards for their effort. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And this movie deserved it. It was a great movie. And then they were also nominated for Best Sound Recording, Brendan B. Brown. That's Universal SSD. So that's the type of audio it is and where the film's recorded. Best Music, Scoring, and Musical Picture, Edward Ward. Academy, Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films. You called it. For 2 years. One was in 2015 and another was in 2013. 2015, they were nominated for the Saturn Award for Best Blu-ray DVD Collection, and that's the Universal Monsters Complete 30-Film Collection. Then there's 2013 where they won a Saturn Award for Best DVD Blu-ray Collection for the Universal Classic Monsters, the Essential Collection, which obviously consists of a lot less movies.
Right, I think it's the 8 Universal Monsters.
Exactly, so they're basically the ones that we covered. So Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, Invisible Man.
But next year we might dive into the 30, the other ones that we don't know anything about.
The ones that we haven't covered.
Right.
Then finally, we have the Hugo Awards, 1944. Nominee for Hugo, Best Dramatic Presentation, Long Form. Eric Taylor, writer. Samuel Hoffenstein, writer. Hans Jacobi, writer. And Arthur Lubin, director. Synopsis. A disfigured violinist wreaks havoc and causes fear in an opera house in Paris.
So, we're going to go ahead and jump into the cast. And yes, the infamous Claude Rains, better known as the Invisible Man, played Eric Claudin, a violinist of the opera house who becomes the Phantom, secretly devoted to Christine. That guy is just such a great actor.
He is.
I mean,
wonderful.
I'd like to see some of his other stuff. I don't know if he was typecasted, you know what I mean, from these movies.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see what else I know he was in... was it Casablanca? I think he has a small role in Casablanca.
I think so. I think we
covered that with Kyle when he was here. Nelson Eddy as Anatoly Guerin, a baritone of the opera who loves Christine and helps her with her career. Susanna Foster as Christine Dubois, a soprano of the opera house. She is unaware that Eric Claudine loves her and was the one who funded all of her singing lessons. Edgar Barrier as Raoul Dubert, a policeman who wants Christine to quit the opera and marry him. Jane Farrar as Bayan Karali, an arrogant, spoiled diva who dislikes being upstage. Yeah, she played a good role.
Oh, yeah.
J. Edward Bromberg as Amiot, Fritz Feld as Liqueur, Frank Puglia as Villanueva, Fritz Leiber as Franz Liszt, Stephen Jure as Versace's, Miles Mander as Maurice Playel, Hans Herbert as Marcel, Hume Cronin as Gerard, and Hank Mann as a stagehand that was uncredited. So let's go ahead and jump in, talk a little bit about the film, and we'll throw in some facts as we go. So it starts off in the Opera House.
Yep.
Nice, beautiful chandelier standing
I
there.
think the first 5 minutes are just dedicated to the opera itself.
And all they're doing is singing.
Yeah.
And then you're captivated. And but during this scene, you see the policeman walk up to the side of the stage.
Yeah.
And Christine's up there singing, and she looks so ratty. You know, there's
Yeah.
And then the guy that's the lead singer, you know, he's like, oh, yeah, what's he doing? You know, so they're all looking at each other, singing,
Yeah.
and just keeping it along and all that. So it comes to a close, and then the guy rushes up to her and is like, hey, what are you doing tonight after this? But while he's doing that, they're too busy talking that she misses the curtain call.
Yeah.
was-
Entirely misses the curtain call.
And
Yeah.
everybody was so upset with her about that. Like,
They're like, where were you?
Why did
Yeah.
you miss like the third curtain call? You know, like she's like. Then this is where she runs into Claude Rains, which is Eric, eventually the Phantom, and he's like, "You missed the curtain call," and she's like, "Does everybody in this place know I missed the curtain call?" So. So he's going in to see, I guess, the owner of the opera, if you will.
Yeah.
And he says, play something for me. So he gets on his violin and he starts playing.
Well, so I remember how that played out. He goes, he's like, there's been problems in the violin section, and I think I know what it is. So then he asks him to play. And so then he plays a piece from his, what do they call it? Where he's from, basically.
But it's not an impressive piece that he's trying to play. It's just something he's trying to get through.
It's a lullaby.
Right.
So he's like, that sounds fine and great. And he's like, well, actually, you know, it's a really simple piece. But the actual piece that you're asking me to play is really complex, and
my left hand is not.
I can't
do it.
feel my fingers in my left hand or something like that. And then that's when you find out that he basically gets fired.
Yeah, for the most part, he's like, we demand perfection here at
yeah.
the Paris Opera House or whatever, and
Which is understandable. I mean, those are in those type of settings. That's usually the type of sort of standards they hold. But they were nice enough to give him season tickets or something like that.
something
Like they were like
ridiculous.
They were like,
yeah.
you know, we'll still let you see the show, basically. So he was still able to see the show, and
Yeah, but once you've been at that level of playing and, you know, I don't want to say competition, but when that was his life.
yeah, it was. He says
there,
it. He's been
and-
there like 20 years.
And they say it throughout the movie a couple times. I think the next scene where he goes to the place where he's staying.
Yeah.
And she's like, you haven't paid. And well, he's like, look, it'll be here next week, you know. And
She's like, I know you have a bunch of money.
He's like, she's like, you've been there forever. He's like, you know, you've been playing there for years.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't have it. And she's like, well, you know, sorry.
Have it or don't.
Yeah, have it or you don't. So then you're coming up to the part where, and I know we're jumping around a little bit because it's been a minute since I've seen it. I know Terrence seen it yesterday, but he's done forgot because, you know, millennial. But
More like tired
Yeah.
blue collar worker.
some millennial. You know, that 8-hour shift. So they come to the thing where Christine's having her lesson. And she's singing a piece, I think, that Claude Rains had wrote. Remember, because he comes in behind her. And
yes,
and he's like, well, that's my music.
Kind of startles her for a moment.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, you sang it beautifully. And then the guy started work on such and such, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then he goes in and he asks something about his piece of music. Remember? And
I'm trying to. I believe he hasn't gone that way yet. He asked. I'm sorry. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. So he has the whole thing with his landlord, let's
Right.
say, and then after that, he goes to basically go to the guy who's teaching the main actor,
Christine.
the lead female role. So Christine, and you find out that he's been paying for her voice coach, basically,
Right.
And
the entire time.
the
She
entire
doesn't know.
time. So you find out that's where all his money's gone because this
Right.
guy's like top tier, and he's like just teach her for a bit longer and she'll make it. And then basically he was saying, I agree with you, but I'm not going to teach her if I'm not getting paid. Like, there's a bunch of people in line who are waiting to pay me, and I'll teach them.
Right.
And so I think he said he would teach her up until like the next performance or something like that. Something really
like that.
short amount of time, basically. It's almost kind of like the last time it's mentioned, because I was like, oh, maybe we'll see the repercussions of this later, because clearly he has no money to pay, and we don't. So, but that's probably because of the events that happen afterwards, because I feel this all happens pretty quickly.
But is he the one that is the repercussion? Is he the one that stole that music and he strangles him right there?
No,
the guy?
not at all. That's not him. So that's in another scene. So he's trying to figure out how to get money, and that is the very next scene. So he's been composing, I forgot what they call it. He's been composing his own music, basically, for some time, and then he goes to get it published. And the publisher goes, oh, we're not going to publish it, basically. And then so he sneaks into the office to try to get his thing back, or try to at least see where it is.
Doesn't he hear?
right?
He hears somebody singing it.
That's coming up. So basically,
playing it or something.
what happens is he's looking for it and he can't find it. And then the dude, he has a mistress, so he's all like, "What are you doing here?" You know, because he's all trying to smooch up on her. And he's like, "I'm looking for my piece. Where is it?" And he's like, "It's probably in the trash where it belongs." And then they cut over to they're getting ready to play the music. And what's really interesting and ironic about the situation is the guy's like, "This is an amazing piece. It needs to be published." And the other guy's like, "But he doesn't publish music." He's like, "He's gonna publish this because this is amazing."
Which right there tells you he had a hit.
And then so it was gonna get
And
published.
he busts in that door and he's like, "You stole my music."
So the maestro is playing his music, and then so he bursts back into the office of the publisher, who has no idea what's going on, and because once again he's just trying to smooch up on his mistress, and he's just, "You stole my music," and that's when he just starts choking him.
Right, and this is where it all starts going downhill for him, because the mistress. Because there's some sort of acid there, and I'm not really sure what it was used for.
What it's even there for, but
it's like a bowl.
Yeah.
And so he strangles that guy and kills him right then and there.
Right
and
then
he's going
takes the
after
acid.
her, and she takes that bowl of acid and just tosses it in his face.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have the screaming lady there.
I
Just
know, right?
pop it on the side. So you see him. She's like starts to scream. He's stumbling out. He's got his hand over his face, burning. And he goes and he hides under that horse carriage.
Yep.
And there's a little sewer grate there.
That's when he sneaks into the manhole cover.
And he goes down there. And so all the cops are down there watching. They bust and they say, "He murdered him. Who was it? The man with the disfigured face, blah, blah, blah." So they're looking for him. They even look under the carriage, which was very ironic, but they didn't check the manhole, because he takes the lantern he has, he puts it behind his back so they can't see the light to it as he's looking up. You can see the policeman. Very well done. So this is where he goes down into the sewer, and you see the running, the sewer water there, and he just does a dive into the sewer water.
Into it and starts splashing on his face to cool off the burn. I'm like,
I was like, that is kind of disgusting.
If that's what I think it is, that's disgusting.
Yeah. So go ahead, Terrence, keep going. Doing good.
All right. So then after that moment is what happened directly after that moment? Oh, so now they're ongoing this investigation. And that's when you meet or further get to meet the cop that is sweet on Christine.
Which was Raul.
Raul, yeah. So he's spearheading this, or at least it seems that way, right? And he starts asking questions, and I believe he questions her, because he's like, "What do you know about her?" Or "What do you know?" Blah blah blah. That's right. It's at her place, I think.
Her dressing room.
Yeah,
something.
Yes, probably her dressing room. And because she was talking to the other guy, the lead role, in the opera, and he's trying to.
Well, see, by now they know who it is.
They do. They know exactly.
They know his
who
name.
It is, yeah.
They know.
So then he starts talking to her, and she's like, "I don't understand. I know of him, but we didn't really talk. Like, I don't know what I can contribute to this investigation, basically." And that's when they reveal that they found a sculpture of her, a very great sculpture, and the very much likeness of her. And you find out that the lead actor role of the opera had made it, and just the whole time you can feel the tension between Raul and the what is the actor's name?
Christine?
No, the main actor.
Claude Rains? You mean Eric? The one that turns into the Phantom?
No, not the Phantom. The other guy who's sweet on Christine. Because there's Raul sweet on Christine, and then the other guy's also sweet on Christine.
I forget his name.
Basically, the cop and the actor, right?
Yeah, there's Raul, and then it's the other guy that was... Oh, man, I can't think of his name.
So they're constantly butting heads, and it's actually quite comedic. How they just stumble upon each other all the time, especially when they're trying to exit doors. He's like, after you, monsieur. And he's like, oh, after you, monsieur. And then they go to both exit out the door, and they like...
So there's a little bit of comedy thrown in there,
So you can tell that they're both sort of in competition to try to gain her favor. So then, what happens next?
Well, while you're thinking about that, let me throw in a couple little tidbits.
Yeah.
On May 21st, 1943, the finished film was rejected by the Hays office because a number of unacceptable breast shots of Christine in her dressing room. I was like, because you got to remember, this is at the time with the code. Remember, it says it's not been determined if this as offending scenes were deleted or reshot, but the film was released in August of 1943 with the Production Code Administration approval. So I was like, that must go back to,
when the laws start.
Whatever those laws were. I can't remember.
I think they were Hays laws.
Okay.
As a matter of fact.
Claude Rains accepted to play the Phantom under the condition that no overdone disfiguration would be made to his face. And of course, Jack Pierce was the one that was doing the makeup. So
very well done.
He does everything perfectly. Also, all the music that was used for the actual operas.
Yeah.
All the operas were performed were either because of they were public domain, or their domain had expired, or their copyright had expired, so they were using it. And except there was one piece, I think it was Faust. That was that Christine was doing. And it's just because it was used so heavily in the novel that they were allowed to sneak it in there.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So speaking of performance, that's actually where the scene comes in next. So they're getting ready to perform, and they're preparing to do their performance, and then that's when you see the shadow of the Phantom over and over while everybody's preparing, and then you see him doctor up a drink basically. And
sets it on that.
Exactly. So they do what I imagine is the first half of the performance, and they come back to take a break, and she drinks this drink, and then she gets terribly ill, and they're all trying to find out what's wrong, and what are they going to do without their lead actress? And so they recast her, and then they put in Christine, because she's the runner-up. And so then she performs, and she does amazing. Everybody loves it. And then that's when all the drama happens afterwards. So she recovers.
Yeah. And she comes in with her attitude.
Oh, yeah. And she is pissed and livid. For right reasons, just the wrong people. So she immediately blames Christine and the lead actor role because she knows that he's sweet on her. And then she's like, this whole plan was devised by them so then she can get my spotlight. And so he can be close to her. Like, this is all a setup, and I know it's them. And they're like, we can't just base it off, like, hearsay. And then she's like, no, I know it was them. So then the head honchos of the Paris Opera House were like, let's just water under the bridge this, because this is bad for us. This is bad for publicity. You. Yeah, because they already have the thing with him, what is the Phantom's name? Eric. So they already had the whole thing with Eric, and that was already publicized with like, prior member of the opera house, Paris Opera House, murdered someone. So they had that hanging over their head, and they're just trying to get past that. And so they were just trying to be like, hey, let's just pretend this didn't happen. And then she's like, all right, well, if you want me to do that, I have my own terms. My terms being, we shall. Like, she can't be the next runner-up anymore. Christine, that being she being Christine. So Christine can't be the runner-up anymore, meaning if she somehow fell ill again, she wouldn't be in the spotlight. And then the second thing was pretend this night never happened.
happened.
So
Right.
like, tell the press to not say a word of it. And then obviously the actor who's sweet on her was pretty mad. He's like, well, what about the rest of the audience? Like, you can't keep them quiet. And she's like, well, those are my terms, and so take them or leave them. And the head honchos were like, all right, we'll think about it. And then that's when she goes back to her dressing room, and then the second murder happens. Phantom pops out of the dressing room, because earlier on you find out that he's taken the master key. And then he's like, there's 100 and something rooms in this opera house. And I'm like, how big is this place?
It's
like, it
huge.
doesn't give you really a perspective of how big this opera house is. And I've never been in an opera house myself. It's kind of a bucket list thing to do, just to see an opera. Why not? You know what I mean? If I'm ever, I know a lot of those shows and stuff is more like East Coast type thing.
Right.
So if I ever make it out to like New York or whatever, I'll probably see a show. Like at least one Broadway, one opera, just to say I have. But yeah, I mean, like it sounds incredibly huge and almost like a labyrinth of rooms. It sounds like, and what I thought was interesting is how quickly Eric seemed to be. Well, then again, he's been there for 20 years, but to still know the layout to all the secret rooms that there seems to be. To which I guess I'm not surprised that there's a master key that exists, since there's so many dang rooms. There's bound to
Now-
be a key that's lost.
You would see, and I wonder I don't know if the police would have searched all the opera house.
Yeah.
Because the murder took place away from there, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they've
Well, they did
lost,
do a search of the opera house, and they do one later too, especially after the murder.
But I mean, I wonder how thorough they were when they know that.
Oh
it
yeah,
didn't
that's
take
true.
Place.
Like there had to have been rooms that are missed, or even if
Right.
it was missed, it's so easy. It seems
So
so
like,
easy
there's
to evade
nobody's been in this
somebody.
wing for years. Why?
Yeah.
Why would he be here? You know.
And that it just seems like there's so many secret corridors and such. It's so easy to evade someone, which he so clearly shows in the very next scene when he's basically just murdered someone again. Everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, she's murdered," and they're all running around. And the only person who sees him is the main actor of the opera. So he's chasing down the Phantom, and then he chases him all the way up to the oh man, I don't know the
Scaffolding.
Yeah, the top scaffolding where they control the curtain, the lights, I imagine, stuff like that. So there's all these ropes and stuff for controlling everything, and so he chases them all the way up there, and eventually the Phantom gets the better of him, and he catches himself from falling by coming down a rope and then holding. Well, first he's like holding on to the curtain for
Right.
dear life, and then he catches one of the ropes, and he finally safely comes down. And then they're like, "What are you doing up there?" And he's like, "I was chasing the man who murdered her." And they're like, "Well, we've only seen you." He's like, "You mean to tell me you didn't see the other guy?" So like right now, there's a little bit of disbelief and skepticism.
Why would the
of
guy jump
statement.
down from the top of that? You know what I
I
mean?
know, right? So
But it's kind of like, it goes back to like the Invisible Man. Nobody believed it.
yeah, exactly.
Them people either. You know what I mean? Look what happened, and it was the same character, Claude Rains.
Right.
So
And so, and it just goes to like, as he was chasing him, he chased him through a bunch of different rooms and went up these stairs and everything. It just shows how well the Phantom knows the area, and how easy it was for him to evade him,
Oh,
more
yeah.
or less.
And I'm sure it's probably the same security guards or whatever, and he knows where they'll be, what doors
Yeah.
they watch, what doors they don't watch.
Exactly,
Windows,
exactly.
etc.
And so then you find out he's left a letter on the one of the head honchos'
the owners
desk
or whatever.
saying basically Christine is to play the lead role, and no one else. That's what it was. He's like, he didn't heed my last warning because he written a previous note saying she has to star, and then she was like, "No, I'm definitely the star. What are you doing?" So then he kills her, and then he leaves another note saying, "You better heed my warning this time, or there will be consequences again." And so they devised this plan to cast somebody else to piss him off. Well, at first they were going to be like, "Let's just cast Christine, and then he'll leave us alone." And then obviously the cop wasn't happy with that, and he's like, "Well, if we do that, then there's no chance of catching the guy. Like, he won't make an appearance, we won't get an arrest." And so they wanted to cast someone else to draw him out, so then they can catch him. Then you have another scene with more awkwardness between the two gentlemen. And Christine.
I love them guys. It's just like,
I just thought it was always one of the funny scenes. Besides them always trying to get out the door at the same time, is when they both grab her hand to like kiss her
Right.
hand, and then they like look at each other, and then they both decide not to.
Yeah.
You could tell she's just, like the whole time. Each one of these scenes, you can tell she's just eating it up. She's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Haha, yes, I'm wanted. Let's throw out some more facts.
all right. So the auditorium and stage of the Paris Opera House scene here was the same one used for the Bill 1925 version that I covered earlier. In the pie. I think it's like episode 21.
Yeah.
Right. It still stands at the Universal Studios today as Stage 28 and has been used in countless other productions, including it was used by Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh, okay.
And I can't remember the name of the movie. I've got it somewhere. If I find it, I'll go over it. But that, and it also goes Murder, She Wrote. A lot of this, it was featured in Murder, She Wrote.
Oh, okay.
The original script revealed Claudin to be Christine's father, who abandoned her and her mother in order to pursue a musical career. When this was from the film, it left his obsession with her, less. Well, why is he obsessed with her?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If he wasn't her father. So that's something that they were looking at. The bronze sculpture of Christine Dubois, you remember the bronze?
Yep.
It was actually made by the co-star Nelson Eddy, who played. That's who it was. Anatoly Garin. That was the baritone who loves Christine.
Yep. Okay.
He actually made that.
Oh.
He was an accomplished sculptor. So
It's interesting how in the movie his character made it, and then in all actuality he actually did make it. So that's
Right.
interesting.
in the scene where the three heroes escape the Phantom's crumbling lair. Whoops! Spoiler alert.
So let's put a pause on that one.
Okay.
Because that's actually coming up. So
Right.
they go through with their plan, and then you also find out that there's a secondary plan in place. That he's like, the cop is incompetent, so I'm going to come up with my own plan to catch him. So he enlists the maestro to play his song. He's like, I know he made this song, so
and he'll
if we
be around
play
to
it,
listen to it.
he'll be around to listen to it. So if we play it, it'll draw him out, and then we
And we
can
can
catch
block
him.
all the exits and everything.
Exactly. So now they put the plan in place. You get another showing of basically the opera play, and they casted somebody else and not Christine, and so obviously that pissed off Eric. And while they're playing out the scene, you just see him on the top of the rafters just hacksawing away at a chandelier.
The chandelier.
And I got to talk about dedication, because that's not a good angle, and he's just sitting there
I
hacking
was like,
away.
this guy is just going to town.
And so, yeah, he's just going to town on the chandelier, and then midway through the piece, the chandelier falls, and people are freaking out and screaming. And in the chaos, the Phantom grabs Christine. He's like, don't worry, like, you'll be safe with me. And then she's like, drags her into his lair, let's call it, the underbelly of the opera, right?
The caverns.
And while that's happening, the actor is he's initiating his plan. He gets the maestro. He's like, we have to play it now. And then so before they start playing, you go through this whole scene with Eric and Christine, and he's being creepy. And then he's like, there's a lake. Look, there's a lake down here. And he's like, oh, you'll get used to the dark. The dark is safe. And
Yeah.
whatnot. And then she's just like terrified.
So not only is he disfigured now, but his mind is starting to go.
His mind's broke.
Yeah, he's done.
And so he's like, you'll only sing for me.
Yeah, I was like,
and he's like, well, we can be together forever, and weird stuff like that. So then they start to play the song. Interestingly enough, he starts to play it at the same time. So his piano playing matches up with what's going on above. So he's in sync with the maestro upstairs, and they're both playing the piano, and both the cop and the actor are looking. They found their way to the underbelly also, but they don't know where he is. It's like a cavern.
Like a maze.
It's a labyrinth down there. I would
maze
imagine.
of sewers,
right? And so they're like, wait, oh, hey, he's initiating my plan. And then after a while, he's like, wait, that sounds like it's in front of us. And like, that is in front of us. But they really can't tell where it is until Christine starts singing. So as she starts singing, they're able to pinpoint his location. And then finally, they burst into the room that he has her captive. And the cop has the gun drawn on him. He's basically saying, let her go. And he looks like he's going to do something, right? He's like, don't even think about it. And, he does think about it. he goes to grab something, and then the cop shoots him. And interestingly enough, the place was so fragile and barely holding up because all it took was the one gunshot
bullet
to have everything crumbling down. Let's throw down that fact.
Right, that's what we were going to say. Only Susanna Foster actually appeared in the scenes. The two male stars were deemed too important to film such a risky scene and had stunt doubles.
What the heck?
Yeah, so they're making the girl do all of her own stunts there.
My
And
gosh.
they didn't want to hurt the boys because,
Wow.
they were too.
So yeah, in this scene, the gentlemen take her away. Eric gets caught in the rubble. And then they barely make it out. And it actually showed how crumbly it was as they were making their way inside. Like, they just barely missed a crumbling wall that would have
It's
took
so
them out.
overdone,
Yeah. I was just like, wow, this building's not up to code. So they escape and everything, and there's a bit of dialogue afterwards. And more or less you find out that she moves on to be the lead role, and she's successful because you got both guys who come in. First, the lead actor comes in, and he's all like, hey, let me take you to supper. And she's like, I already have a date. And you find out that date's with the cop. And then she just shuts him down immediately. And then, they both are trying to give her flowers at the same time. And then they both, are once again stumbling upon each other and stuff like that. And then I believe the last scene is she exits the doors, and then there's a bunch of people with flowers, and, she's happy. And then they both go to walk out the door, and then they both get stuck in the door at the same time, but they kind of like smile at each other. It's kind of like this weirdly happy ending. And then
Right.
then the last cutout scene is they go back to the rubble where you see the violin and the mask.
Right. Which I thought was very fitting.
Yeah.
It would have been really cool to see like his hand or something come out.
That's what I thought.
Just so
I
you
thought,
could have like a sequel. But this is the first, like we were talking earlier, this is the first time during the watching of these Universal monsters that it doesn't just abruptly end like the monster's
true.
dead, boom,
Yeah.
the end. And
that
you're
was-
like, it actually gave you a little bit of closure this time.
It did, and that was definitely something we were discussing off mic. Was this is the first movie that gives us a closure, more or less, instead of just like, all right, the antagonist is dead,
The
end of movie,
Right. The mummy crumbles to dust. The end. The Wolfman got killed by his father. The end. It's
Right.
Just, the Alfred Hitchcock movie I was referring to was a feature called Torn Curtain from 1966, where the stages thing shown. The budget was approximately $1.75 million, which included $100,000 to soundproof the still existing opera stage from Universal's The Phantom of the Opera 1925 silent version. The Universal logo does not appear in this film.
It doesn't.
And I thought that was really weird because usually
It starts off with the curtain.
Right. At the beginning of almost all these other ones, you've seen the Universal logo with the little airplane going
airplane.
around it. Claude Rains was considered to be miscast in this role due to him not being physically suitable.
Actually, I will say the copy that I was watching, it did have the new Universal logo, not the old one.
Right. So.
It had the one that you're familiar with if you watch Universal throughout like the 80s.
Right, but I think,
that
but
one
what
held up.
I think that was added to the DVD release, the
That's
Universal
what I
Collection.
imagined, yeah.
Right, but the original release
Didn't have it at all. But if you do have the modern release of it, then it does have the more modern Universal logo.
Right. And last but not least, and you're going to find this because this ties into our next episode, Universal Pictures originally planned this film as a vehicle for its comedy team of Bud Abbott and Lou Costello. It also considered casting Lon Chaney Jr. as the Phantom, a role made famous by his father, Lon Chaney, and John Hall as the romantic lead, which I think would have been a great service to let him play the role that made his dad famous, especially with the same character.
Oh, yeah.
So, Terrence, bless me. Take it away. Give me your thoughts on this film.
Good movie. It was a very solid film.
Where are you putting it in your list now? Because
Let's
I know when you
see.
did this and
Yeah.
the other one, you hadn't seen it yet. So and you was like,
Yeah,
I know.
when I was ranking them yesterday. Whew, I put it in the middle somewhere. Like it's not at the bottom.
Okay,
it's
give me
not
the
at
one that
top.
you would say was right above it, and the one that's right below it for you. If you're putting it
I
in the
would
middle.
probably put it just right before Dracula.
So right before Dracula, and then what's it right under?
Oh, that would be what it's.
Oh, so it
under.
goes
It's
Dracula,
Dracula,
This.
Phantom of the Opera,
and
and then Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Okay. Fair.
And then once again, like we mentioned this in our wrap-up episode, but this is by no means like a Jurassic scale. Like they're all fairly
That's
close
like
because
tenths.
these are all like the only one that's leagues behind is the very last one,
Which was the very first one that we did, right?
yeah.
The
very first Universal
Hunchback
movie.
of
Yeah.
and we did that because it's so iconic.
yeah.
And we did a watch along party on Facebook. So
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's an incredible movie.
and I think the reason that this one stands out is number one, the story. It's always fascinating. They've done many versions of it. Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote that whole Broadway musical about
yeah.
it, which is fantastic. By the way, if you haven't heard it.
And it's like the awards were saying, and even what we were saying, like the cinematography is great.
Yes, the color.
And
Bright colors.
They took full advantage. I do want to mention that, like they earned that sort of what was
Academy
it?
Award.
Academy Award for
Cinematography for
best interior decoration and even costuming. Like they took full advantage of color movies. There are vibrant colors everywhere. They even took even the mask wasn't the usual white. It was a blue mask.
Right.
It's kind of like this baby blue mask. Everything was vibrant. It popped, and it all fit with the setting because it's this opera. It's big and loud,
Well,
and it did really well.
Well, and I think it goes to show you that what happens when you have a big budget and you actually use it for the set.
Yeah,
And not only that, but the set's still standing, unless it burned down recently. I can't remember. But I'm just saying, for all that set that was reused, how much money had they saved when they reused that set over and over and over?
Yeah.
But it's something that they made that long ago. And that just shows you how things were made back then that can still stand today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
The craftsmanship that went into that. So, yes, very good movie. I highly recommend it, as well as any other of the versions of Phantom of the Opera, just because in this one he was a broken, I don't want to say broken, but he was a guy that had past his prime that still loved the opera, but he couldn't do it anymore.
yeah.
In other versions, he was like a carnival freak, circus freak, that
Yeah.
escaped and found solace there and was hid by Madame Gyré or whatever.
So I do know that I feel like this one was the least romanticized version of the story.
Right. At least, but you had two people fighting over it. You know what I mean?
That's also
but,
true,
But as
'cause
far as the inversions of the
I do
Phantom,
feel
right?
like
And Raoul was never a cop. He was always like a childhood friend that they had always broke with. You know what I mean?
So I know in the 2004 version was a lot more like romanticized version of the story.
Well, that's the Broadway musical
That's
too.
true,
So
yeah.
you don't know how much of that's coming through, but fantastic overall. Well, stay tuned because we are getting ready to do one of my favorites, and I know Terrence was cracking
It's
up.
gonna be
He just was Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. This will be the last movie that wraps up the Universal Monster series, and then we have our wrap-up show. So stay tuned for this one, and I think that's a wrap on this episode.
Yep.
And cut.